You can build a success personality. You can become someone who naturally attracts success in all aspects of your life. You can see yourself as capable, and you aren't tied down by negative emotion, all achieved through the 5-step process. This process was created by Brian Tracy, a multimillionaire, a leading authority on success and personal achievement, and he has written over 80 books on the subject. I've watched more than 10 hours of Brian Tracy, and I've distilled his most useful advice into this video. And by the end of this video, I promise you will know exactly what to do to begin embodying that success personality. And I'll give you one bonus step that's helped me out immensely. But quickly, why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Jacob. I've spent the last 5 years and hundreds of hours working on every part of my life, constantly leveling up. I used to be overweight. I had crippling anxiety. I was weak in literally every sense of the word, and I hated both myself and the world around me. And now that version of me no longer exists. Now I help young men make the same transformation, level up their mental health, become more successful with real actionable advice without wasting any of your time. Step 1, you must like yourself, you must have a high self-esteem, and you must have a high self-concept. More than likely, you don't like yourself. You don't have a very high self-esteem, and you don't think you're very capable of much. You might have negative beliefs about yourself, you might be anxious, you're not confident, and to be honest, you might feel like a little bitch. So why is this bad? Well, aside from the obvious, no shit, you need to like yourself, what are some more tangible reasons on why you should actually like yourself? And what does it actually lead to? Well, you're less courageous in all aspects of your life, especially in things like dating, where you have to go approach that girl. You're so much less likely to approach the opposite sex when you have no self-esteem. And you're much more likely to be rejected because the opposite sex, they can see that you're not self-confident. Not having self-esteem, not liking yourself, that exudes over to other people and they can usually smell it out. They can usually tell, and that is very unattractive. If you don't like yourself, you're so much less likely to take care of yourself, your health. You're so much less likely to prioritize the things that actually matter, like taking good care of your body, getting proper sleep, getting proper nutrition. You're so much less likely to do that when you don't like yourself. You have so many missed opportunities in life because you're too scared. Having high self-esteem gives you the confidence to act without being scared of what other people think, without what other people think of you. And that's where so many of life's biggest opportunities come from, where you're not scared of what other people think, and you take that action that you know you want to do and that might ruffle other people's feathers. Not just dating, but in all social aspects, you're looked down upon. Unfortunately, again, most people can tell when you don't have very high self, and a lot of people just, to be frank, they don't care, and they're going to look down and not respect you as much. Okay, you have a low self-esteem and you know it's absolutely fucking awful. What do I do to fix it? You need to start living your life more attuned to your own values and start doing shit for you. Like, there was a time in my life, I went for a walk and I was thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. But then I had a little self-awareness, like conscious moment, and I realized what I was thinking about was what other people wanted. I wanted 10K a month and I wanted to be a pro boxer. Both of those things I didn't want for me. I wanted both of those things because of how other people would perceive me. I wanted other people to see me as, oh, that guy's a pro fighter, oh, that guy's fucking sick. And the respect and shit I'd gain from that. Same with 10K a month. That's why I wanted that. And yes, in hindsight, it's pretty fucking sad. But now that I realize that, I can journal out what I value, what I truly want. And you need to have a moment like that where you understand and hope that what you're doing lines up with what you genuinely want and it isn't clouded by what other people want for you. Like, so many people go to uni or go into a job they hate because of their parents. Like, what's the fucking stereotype for Indians? To be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. You have 3 options. But what if none of those inherently are valuable to you? You don't see yourself doing that. You're not going to be happy. Then Brian Tracy gave the method of, and then this is directly from Brian Tracy himself. He said to go into the mirror and over repeat to yourself, I like myself. I like myself, 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 over and over again. You want to reinforce that belief about yourself. Even if you don't feel it right now, you're probably going to feel fucking weird, to be honest. When I first started doing it, yes, it feels fucking weird, honestly. You're in the mirror telling yourself you like yourself over and over. It's fucking weird. But you want to know something weird? It works. When you tell yourself something over and over and over and over again, you truly start believing it. And I really do recommend trying this out. Again, with all things, try it for a few weeks. If it doesn't work for you, stop it. If it does, which it probably will, keep doing it. Another method is to research shadow work. Basically, the short of it is you've unintegrated emotions and trauma from your childhood that you haven't integrated into your life. There are emotions that you have left behind that are pushing you down in life. And shadow work is basically bringing back those emotions and integrating your whole being so that you don't self-sabotage and that you're more aware of your insecurities and just your general self. So yeah, Google shadow work and begin working on yourself, becoming more aware and conscious of yourself. Begin to cultivate a self-improvement mindset. You want to be constantly leveling up all aspects of your life. You want to set goals, you want to work towards those goals, and you want to achieve those goals. Like how I set a goal from going from fat to being in shape. When you level up, the self-esteem that you gain from doing that is ridiculous. You want to love to grow, and you want to not fear failure. You want to treat failure as a necessary step, just as a stepping stone to greater things. Because that's all failure really is at the end of the day. If you're interested, I can make a full guide for boosting your self-esteem. Just let me know down in the comments if that's something you really want. So if you've watched this far into the video, I can tell that you are the type of person that takes his mental health seriously and wants to become that more successful person. I have a course on that down in the description. Check it out. You'll love it. Back to the video. Step 2, you need to accept responsibility and refuse to blame others. So what's the root of negative emotion? I'll give you a second to think about it. It's blame. I'll give you a nice little analogy to understand this. So visualize a tree with the leaves being negative emotions and the stump, the root is blame. So the root, the stump of the tree, the root of negative emotions is blame. And the leaves is negative emotions themselves. So big tree, the root of negative emotions is blame. And then where do you cut down a tree from? You cut a tree from the root. So you want to attack blame with your axe. And in this case, your axe is the words, I am responsible. It's taking responsibility. You want to say to yourself, I am responsible. And every time you say to yourself, you are responsible, you are attacking blame. You are cutting down the tree of negative emotions by saying, I am responsible. So tree of negative emotion, blame, and then you're saying, I am responsible, and then you're cutting out the root of negative emotion, which is blame, by taking responsibility. Look, when you blame someone or something for a problem, you 99% of the time feel a negative emotion and your peace of mind is disturbed. I want you to think about that and you will find that it's true. Like you feel anger or resentment to the situation in question. Like it's when you blame your genetics for being out of shape, or you blame your teachers if you failed a class, or you blame the traffic for you being late to work, or you blame your parents for a bunch of different problems. Like say you had a poor childhood, you blame your parents for that. Or say you think you have poor character traits now because of your parents, and you blame them because of it. So what do all of these have in common? You're blaming someone or something else and shifting responsibility, allowing you to take zero proactivity in getting what you want. You're not being proactive, you're just blaming someone else. Look, there are some people right now who are probably saying, that's unfair, that's not right, they really did treat me unfairly, I really did suffer. Look, I'm not minimizing or removing any of what had happened to you. I'm sorry, it has been shit, but there is a more useful lens in which to view life. But I will give you an example which I hope illustrates what I'm trying to get to you. Take two people. Both were abused as children and have grown up stunted, anxious with low self-esteem. Person one refuses to blame his parents or his upbringing for anything. He channels all of that negative emotion into something greater. He uses it to build a business. He uses it to work on his health. He channels it into positive avenues. He accepts that if he wants anything in life, He has to get it himself and he has to change himself. He can't be clinging on to old negative emotions that would just keep him held back. Can't be blaming and clinging on to the past. While person 2 is fixated on blaming his parents, feeling sorry for his own life, not taking any action, refusing to forgive or let go of any of the old emotions or the old wounds he has, and just focuses on the past with no hope for a better future because he refuses to let go of the past. He refuses to stop blaming other people. Person 1 becomes successful, ends up happily married, and lives a happy, fulfilled life, while person 2 fails to get any momentum in their career, is stuck at a dead-end job, and cannot build any healthy relationships because they're so rooted in and clinging to the negative emotions of the past and refuses to let go. Look, you might be a bit angry right now, and if you are, please calm down. I'm not trying to minimize the suffering or abuse that others or people like yourself has suffered through. I'm purely using it as a point to illustrate the fact that if you avoid taking responsibility for your own life, you are actively fucking up your future. If you don't let go of and keep blaming others for your circumstances, you're never going to be able to be successful or be free of those negative emotions. You need to stop blaming others for your problems and stop allowing things outside of your control. And you need to stop letting things outside of your control actually upset you. And I'm not immune to this either. Like me, I used to blame my parents for me being an introvert. Like, they would allow me to stay indoors all day just playing video games. And then I woke up one day realizing I can't socialize. I struggle to make friends. And whose fault is it? Let's avoid taking responsibility for my own actions and let's blame someone else. So I blamed my parents and continued finding it hard to make friends. So how useful is that way of thinking? 0. It's fucking stupid, and it's so counterproductive to leading the life you want to lead. All it takes is a bit of courage and a little bit of temporary pain to the ego, and you can take responsibility, you can stop feeling sorry for yourself, and that's exactly what I did. I started going out more, taking responsibility, I started socializing, and I started being able to make friends because I accepted that I was the reason that I was an introvert. It was me. It was no one else. It was me. So yeah, as I said earlier, anytime you feel like you're blaming someone, anytime you feel those negative emotions surrounding that, I want you to use the words, I am responsible. Say those magical words, I am responsible. This is directly what Brian Tracy has said to do. Don't avoid this. Remember, by saying, I am responsible, you're cutting down the root of negative emotions, which is blame, by saying, I am responsible, cutting down blame. So yeah, begin to take more responsibility in your life, stop blaming others, and use the magical words, I am responsible. Step 3, how easily you forgive others. Again, it's holding on to negative emotion and just fucking up your peace of mind as a result of that. You want to know something funny about human nature? You barely remember what other people say. Like, try to remember a conversation you had a year ago. You're not going to be able to fucking remember that. But try to remember how you felt when you were with that person. People remember how you make them feel, not what you say. And yeah, sorry, I thought that was really, I thought that's really interesting and very true. But yeah, how easily you forgive others. A lot of people find it hard to forgive because it thinks it minimizes what was done to them, but it doesn't. It's honestly more of a selfish thing for you to do, to be honest. If you forgive someone, you allow outside circumstances not to affect you. You basically give yourself permission to have peace of mind and to be happy. When you hold on to negative emotions, guess what? It stays with you. When you fuel the fire by constantly thinking, oh, that person did me such harm, I can't believe them, they're such horrible people. You're fueling the fire of negative emotions. You're keeping it alive. Think of your negative emotions as like a fire pit. And by constantly thinking, oh, I suffered so much, oh, I hate this person, you're fueling the fire. Let the fire burn out. You don't want that fire burning. Why do you want to have negative emotions like that? Your peace of mind is so much more important. So put out the fire by forgiving others, by forgiving them for what they've done to you. Yes, forgiving someone might be a hard thing, but honestly, what do you value more? You feel like you got justice for your suffering? Do you feel justified, or do you value your peace of mind? What is more important to you? If you really want to feel like you suffered, you went through a lot, and you want justice, if you want your peace of mind, and I know what option I'm going with, and I know what option I've chosen, and I'm currently choosing, it's peace of mind. Like, here's a story of me and how I've fucked it up in the past. So, this was when I was working at retail. I had a supervisor I was really good friends with. This supervisor, I went skydiving with them, and I hung out with them several times outside of work. I was really good friends with him. So you can imagine the type of relationship you would have. You went skydiving, you did awesome shit with them, and you hung out, you're good friends. Then an event at work where I made a mistake. He, from my perspective, completely overreacted, blew it out of proportions. And as a result, I felt like I was betrayed, and he was just blowing his own ego out of his ass. And it wasn't a good situation for anyone. I didn't forgive him. Despite the fact that we had a good relationship, I felt like he had wronged me, and he wouldn't properly apologize because from his perspective, he was doing what was right. And a few weeks later, I could see it from his perspective, but I still just disagreed with him. And as a result, weeks, months, and a year went by. It was awkward. We never maintained the same level of friendship again, and then we drifted apart. All the while, I still held on to that feeling of I was wronged. So of course the relationship can't get back to the way it was or get better if I was still holding on to that negative emotion, to that feeling that he wronged me. And yeah, that caused a lot of my peace of mind to be gone, a good solid friendship gone, my peace of mind and a friendship, because I refused to forgive and let go. So I've learned from that mistake, and I refuse to not forgive others now. Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to tell you how to forgive someone. There are a bunch of steps. There are things that you should do. Some people don't, some people should. Google how to forgive someone. There are a lot more qualified people to talk about this and that process, especially if they've done really bad shit to you. But aside from that, the main thing I want you to do is I want you to set the intention that you are going to be a more forgiving person. Also, right now, do you have anyone that you should forgive? Dwell upon this question. Do you have anyone you should forgive? And how can you actually work towards starting to forgive them? Step 4, positive expectation. Out of all the steps in this list, this has by far been my kryptonite. The thing I've suffered with and I'm currently working towards right now. So I want you to look for the good in everyone and everything. I want you to be the type of person that looks for the good in situations where there isn't much. I want you to expect positive things to happen, and I want you to be more aware of the positive traits of people. I want you to stop looking at negativity, and I want you to start being more laser focused on the positive aspects of people. Because as humans, we're negatively biased. We are completely negatively. Like, think of this. If you received 10 compliments and then one person criticizing and berating you, what are you going to remember? You're going to hyper-focus on the one negative comment. Yet, in reality, you were complimented 10 times, 10 over 1, and your awareness and the way you see the world probably materializes as the one negative. You need to start being more positive. And yes, I know the advice is pretty fucking general. Be more positive. Wow, what revolutionary advice. But look, people just aren't fucking positive these days. You think you understand, oh yeah, positive's better. Yeah. But no, people just aren't. Like, how many times do you judge people negatively? How many times do you only see the bad in people when there has actually been tons of positives? I know I've done this in the past. I have walked around, I've seen like some fat person, and I would instantly think to myself in my mind, wow, what a lazy, undisciplined, useless sack of shit. And how do you think that makes me feel when I think those thoughts? Yeah, not very good at all. I get a sense of superiority because I'm in good shape, which is just fucking ego. But it's false. It's not genuine. And you think doing that's good for your mental health? Like, you know, when you judge others, you become more careful of that thing itself. So say if you judge fat people, you're going to be so much more self-conscious of your own body. If you go around judging people's haircuts, oh, whoop-de-doo, you're going to take big and noticeable extra care of your own hair to make sure that other people aren't judging it. Because if you judge others, because you're going to care what they think of you. Like, it doesn't just stem from strangers or anything like that. It can happen with family members as well. Like, upon zooming out, a family member was extraordinary to me, but I fucked the relationship with them because I was so focused on the negative. I was focused on the negatives they did. I would point it out. I would be a better piece of shit, despite the fact that there was 10 times more positive than negative, but I just wasn't aware. I just didn't see it. And honestly, you're probably doing that in your own life, but your awareness is literally just not there. You're wearing colored lenses right now and you physically can't see it. So for an action step, I want you to shift your attention from a negative to a positive. I want you to find an event in your recent life where you have negative views of it. And I want you to reframe that in a positive light. I want you to actively look for the good in an otherwise negative situation. Bringing awareness to the positive side of things will get you 90% of the way there. No one actively looks for the positive. And that's what you need to do. Look for the positive in all situations. Step 5. How well do you get along with others? The game of life becomes 10 times better when you have companions that you can share it with. Like, we as humans are deeply wired and rooted as social creatures. Like, going back thousands of years, if we didn't socialize, we'd die. This survival mechanism is literally rooted in us to be more social. Because if we didn't connect and work with others, we would die. Like, we only feel happy when we're working with other people and we actually feel like we're contributing to something greater than just our own lives. And honestly, the biggest thing of it all, life just becomes easier when you can socialize better with other people. You have people helping you out, from connections to business opportunities to romantic connection. If you can't socialize or get along with people, you're not going to have that romantic connection. You're not going to have the same job opportunities. You're not going to have the same friend group. You're not going to have a friend group if you can't get along with people. And all of those deep-seated needs for us as humans. We need to get along with people. We need our romantic. We need friends. We need the romantic. And we just need to share the joys of life with other people. And also, when we're alone, existential dread and other negative feelings, I know in the past you can absolutely be swallowed upon whole by those negative emotions when you're all alone. Like the unhappiest time was probably when I was by myself, not socializing, not meeting new people, just playing video games all the time. That's when those negative voices in your own head, that's when those are the loudest. So yeah, learn to get along with people. And your action step, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. Fucking fantastic book that got me started on developing proper friendships and just getting better at dealing with people in general. Fucking awesome book. Time for the bonus step now. Look, most people, they're really negative in all aspects of their life. They're negative about themselves and they're negative about the world around them. So I want you to think about this. When's the last time you thought about or dwelled upon a success you've had in the past? Can you even recall a time you succeeded in the past? Like, instantly? Most people have to put in a bit of effort. When did I last succeed? When did I do anything well? Why is that so hard for most people to do? Because most people, again, negatively biased, they only dwell upon the negative. I want you to make it a habit to dwell upon your successes. I want you to make it a habit to sit down, think about, and then visualize yourself having that experience again. To say, I know for me, when I first managed to cold approach a girl, I can play that back in my head and I'm just like, yes, I fucking finally did it. And I'm not a scared little bitch anymore. And just playing that same memory over and over again in your head visualizes and reinforces the fact that you have succeeded in the past. You are the type of person that succeeds. And that sends signals down to your subconscious and the way that you see yourself, that you can succeed, that you're more positive. Dwelling upon your successes is such a good habit to get into, and it equals out all of those negative thoughts you've had. Okay, moving on. You can probably see how all of these steps can overlap and help each other out. Like, if you like yourself and you have a high self-esteem, you're far more likely to look for the good and to be able to forgive someone and to be able to not blame others because you have a high self-concept and you see yourself as capable, or if you're constantly looking for the good in others, looking for the positive, you're a lot less likely to blame others because you don't see it as a problem in the first place or a negative thing in the first place. And you just forgive a lot easier. It's just natural because you're a more positive person. So in summary, step 1, work to boost your self-esteem. Step 2, refuse to blame external circumstances and take responsibility. I am responsible. Step 3, work to be a more forgiving person. Step 4, become a more positive person and begin to look for the good in everyone and everything. And step 5, learn to get along well with other people. So yeah, if you like this video, I guarantee you'll like this one here. It's about why most men are unsuccessful. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.